Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. QFC Quran Foundation Course Introduction. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Let's have fun in learning QFC. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Do they not then think deeply in the Quran, or are their hearts locked up from understanding it? أفلا يتدبرون القرآن أم على قلوب أفقاله. This is a rhetorical question mentioned in the Quran, and we need to deeply think about this. Rabbi zidni ilma, increase me in knowledge. This is the opening dua. God will raise in rank those of who believe and those who have been given knowledge. This is a promise of Allah. خيركم من تعلم القرآن وعلمه. The best among you are those who learn the Quran and teach it. And this should be an incentive for us to continue this journey and to spread the knowledge. In this slide, the light of the Quran is being illustrated in the diagram, and this should encourage us to spread, and this journey should continue throughout our lives and should reach others maximum possible. For this, we might need accessories, tools, and over time, without these tools and accessories, we can directly understand the Quran very quickly, and that level of perfection only comes through practice. The tools I have been using for understanding the fundamental concepts are fables, stories, checklists, mnemonics, memory aids, acronyms, and algorithms. So parts of speech in Arabic language with equivalent terms in English grammar is VPN, verb, particle, noun. In English, the parts of speech are separate and has a lot of categories, but fortunately for us, it has been broadly divided into three in the Arabic language. Foundations of any language: alphabets, vocabulary, grammar. Alphabet is the study of tajweed, vocabulary is tafsir, grammar is nahwa and sarf. And AVG is also the mnemonic which I'll be using as a proposed pathway to analyze the words in the Holy Quran. Sarf is the study of Arabic root using the template fa'ala. This is a side note just to keep in mind. The proposed flowchart is AVG. When you encounter any word in the Holy Quran, you start with this thought process. This is to streamline our thought process. This is to streamline the way of understanding the word in the whole verse. So the word begins with an alif lam, ends with a tanweem, or ends with a ta marbuta, or begins with a meme and ends with a kisra. All of these indicate that the word is a noun. If there is a doubt or you need to reconfirm it due to the lack of all the characteristics that I have mentioned before in this noun, then you can look into its vocabulary. So rich knowledge of vocabulary is also an integral part of the study of the Holy Quran. So if the name of the word is a person, animal, thing, or an idea as we have studied in our school, then naturally the word is a noun. If it isn't, then the next step is you have to think it either could be a verb or a particle, and that depends upon the number of consonants. If it's less than 3, it's mostly a particle. If it's more than 3, it's a verb. So once we have ascertained that the word we are dealing with either is a verb or a particle or a noun, then we have to go into the next step, that is GPS. The GPS mnemonic is applicable for all the three parts of speech, and they will encompass all the knowledge that we need to understand and to familiarize with the concepts related to each and particular part of speech. So let's begin. This is another method of illustrating the same thought process. So I see a word, I look at its prefix, its suffix, its ending vowel, its opening vowel, and then the whole process can be depicted as a visual post-mortem of the word. So if the word has an alif, lam in the beginning of the word, or has a tanween in the end, tanween can be a fathatain, a kasratain, a dhammatain, or it has an ta marbuta, an ending a consonant ending letter, or has a beginning letter with a meme, or ends with a kisra, then it has to be a noun. On the contrary, if it's an ATM negative word, it either could be a verb or a particle, and as I mentioned before, this should be confirmed by the process of understanding its vocabulary and identifying it as a person, animal, thing, or an idea, a noun. If not, then you look into the number of consonants, either it is more than 3 or less than 3. In Arabic language, the part of speech is VPN, verb, particle, and noun. The verb is a very large group. It has 3 parameters, variables like autonomous, tense, and meaning, and out of which tense does not attribute to the noun, because it has only an autonomous and a meaning state only. Tense is present tense, past tense, and future tense, besides the command tense as a separate group. We'll discuss all of this in the section of verbs. Now, particle is something which affects the verb and the noun, and also has a reciprocal relation. The noun and a verb can also affect the particle. So, the particle does not have all the 3 variables which belongs to the verb, and we will discuss this in the section of particles later on. So what is sarf grammar? It's basically divided into 2 groups, verbs and nouns. Sarf is mostly related to the study of verbs, and nahwa is related to the study of nouns. So let's begin the AVG pathway that I have proposed in my previous slide. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Bismi. Now, if you look at that word, there isn't an alif lam, there isn't a tanween, tamarbuta, meme. There is only a kisra. So in the first step A, we find kisra. Now, if you think that that's weak enough for us to ascertain this, we can reconfirm it with the vocabulary. It's a noun. So basically, we are talking about the concept, idea, name. Second, we can go into the next step. So we confirmed it as from the A pathway, we confirmed it's a noun. We reconfirmed by the vocabulary that this is a noun. And then we go to the G pathway, that is grind, GPS. So in grind, we look at the word, that is we use the grind as the next step. P, we look at whether it's part of a phrase, and we look at it, that word, as a part of a sentence, and it has its own set of rules for a phrase. It has its own set of rules for a sentence. So the grammatical role is what's called GR for grinds. INDS is called the i'rab, the N is for the number, and D is for definiteness, and S is for sex, gender. We will discuss this in elaborate fashion when we discuss the noun, but this is the step which I want you to practice with each and every word of this surah, and then make it perfect. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.